without any further ado, we'll move on to the last of the semi-finals, semi-final 2, between Wales and the Springboks. It is going to be happening at 9 a.m. on Irish time on Sunday.
That's
Sunday, the 27th.
Sunday.
Refereed by Jerome Garces. This is the thing that the French did for us. They by getting knocked out, they've opened the door
Wayne
for
Barnes
more
doesn't
French
get a
refs.
semi-final.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Unless they're keeping them for the final, but then if
England
England get
win.
through, then that's all gone. Yeah, I know it's a bit odd.
It's very strange.
It is also
and Ben Skeen is the TMO here as well.
Yeah,
it's.
I don't know. Yeah,
they released a letter after the opening weekend criticising their refs, and then they, reward the performances of Jerome Garces in this World Cup.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Anyway.
It's also happening at the International Stadium Yokohama, which I think is actually where the finals are taking place as well. I think it's all Yokohama.
Might be the
from
best
here on
stadium.
out.
It's the one where you have all those cannon shots that are going around on Twitter after the
They're
game
awesome.
of the tries, moving. Yeah, they're pretty cool
for sure. And it's another very colourful game. It's great. We have the Six Nations Grand Slam champions in Wales taking on the Rugby Championship winners and champions in the Springboks. Again, Northern Hemisphere v Southern Hemisphere. Erasmus v Gatland. We have a 2-year tenure versus a 10-year plus tenure in the interests of answering that World Cup cycle dynamic question. It's definitely in there. And then we also have Warren Gatland's best winning record against Southern Hemisphere opposition. They won the last 4.
Yeah, exactly. It's the best recent record Gats has ever gone into against a Southern Hemisphere opponent. 4 from 4 in the last 4 meetings. 2 of which were against Alistair Coetsia's diminished side, but 2 of which were last year.
Yeah.
One was Razzie's first test in charge of the Springboks away in America.
Yes.
And the other one was last November in Cardiff. Wales winning both of them and moving to 4-0 of the last 4
which is
against
impressive.
the Springboks.
Yeah.
Because they have some wily plays in them to counter the Bucks' physicality, and that's going to be one of the overarching themes and dynamics of this game, which makes it so interesting.
Big question, in fact. I think Wales are probably, as well as being the most versatile, just such a clever, spoily team, and the Bucks, as physical as they are and as wonderful as they are, and they have some wonderful intelligent footballers, collectively when things upset them, they can be a bit collectively dumb at times, and Wales are exactly the side to capitalise on that kind of mistake.
They are.
So that's what's a very interesting dynamic. Wales, in terms of their game plan from start, I think a lot has to revolve on the boot, because they are a versatile team. They can play a million different ways, but if Bigger's going to be playing, he has a wonderful boot. Both himself and Liam Williams are excellent under the high ball, where LaRue and Mapimpi on the other side as well. Just in general, the back three are less tested in that area from the box. They don't tend to be kicked too.
One of the big news today is that Chesn Kobe's hurt his ankle. He's not going to be playing. That's a huge blow for the Springboks. Sabu Nkosi comes in as the only change to the Springbok team.
And he's been in great form too, but it means that back three are collectively not that tall and just not experts in the air at all.
Yeah, I agree. From Wales's perspective, in terms of what they do, how they use the ball, the Boks almost, and you could see it against Japan in that last game, they almost love not to have the ball.
Yeah, they
love to make their plays on defence.
Yeah,
which is it's great to have a top side, just have that picture to it as well, instead of just everybody playing sort of
attacking rugby.
But no, you need to have different pictures from different teams, and the Springboks are bringing this raw defensive awesome energy that they're making their best plays without the ball. They love to defend. They just love it.
Faf de Klerk smashing some big boys is a great picture. Nathaniel Am shutting the door on the outside, excellent as well.
Yeah, and he's been awesome all tournament, and that's it's a fun fixture for the Boks. And from Wales's perspective, their offense has been struggling. I mean, we flagged before the France game that one of the things that they should do is sort of hold the ball and try and frustrate the French defence. And actually, early in that game against France, they were trying to do a bit of that, but they were really found wanting in the collision area. They were getting smashed backwards. And while France were up for the game, Boks bring that same sort of smashing game on a whole other level to France on their best day. It's just a different kind of thing.
I wouldn't challenge them there, because the Boks do have guys who will steal and guys who will smash all day long.
See Khaleesi, they attack the pill in the contact, like they blast you backwards, but they'll also attack the pill. They'll do all.
So there's no sense, even as versatile as Wales are, I think it was the option against France to try and go tight, however well it worked or not. I think that's the opposite's true.
But that's the thing, is I don't see them getting that momentum in the narrow channels with the ball and moving it wide. It brings Am into the game, and how do you get outside him? So actually, I just 100% agree with you that really you're going to be looking at a lot of kicking.
Yeah,
you're going to be looking at a lot of Dan Biggar and Liam Williams are two of the finest
Great
aerial
combination
players
in the air,
in the game. Josh Adams no mug either in the air.
George North, another like in terms of just vertically challenged, like George North squaring up against Mapimpi.
He's going to take those balls more often than not.
Indeed.
So that's got to be where Wales go. I mean, they're going to kick the leather off the ball as Warren Gatland turns it.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
And I think they're dead right. That's what they should be looking to do to move the ball. Once they get into, and I actually think they should be looking to keep this tight, win the territory game, mix it up between bombs and deep kicks to the corner.
Sure.
Look to
move Villy around, basically. Have him turning on a sixpence the whole time.
Yeah, move Villy around, win some key high balls, but actually take 3-pointers when they're down there. Back their kicking game.
Yeah.
Like, I think
they're looking at this to be a game of little tit for tat 3-pointers a lot of the time. I think both teams
I think it's time to bring back that like quick fire restart, catch them off like they did against the Wallabies. Catch them off at the restart.
Bang drop goal.
Instant bang drop goal. Back we go again.
Yeah.
This is a Dan Biggar / Liam Williams rise and shine. This is your day to shine.
Yeah.
Kind of game for Wales.
For sure. I think in terms of their ball in hand, like obviously you can't kick the ball all the time, but I think it should be a primary weapon. I think if they can get those turnovers, because they will be going for them, we've flagged it before, they tend to have, like, they fan out and compete. They're one of the few teams, top teams that do that. They'll get their hands in. Two people will compete at most breakdowns as well as fanning out. So if they manage to yield some turnovers from that, that's when I think they can, if they can execute right and transition quickly, that's the only chance they have to get it wide properly and get an attacking play off before the Springboks kind of blitz, narrow out to in blitz kind of takes effect before that shape is run. So transitioning quickly off turnover will be important for them. Crossfield kicks, same as offloads and just running with a bit more depth. I think actually Japan's shape showed the virtue of putting a bit more depth in the ball, and this Wales side have done that before. They've done it to get outside English blitzes before, and it's the same kind of picture. If you want to try and get the wingers into the game with ball in hand, which there will be a time for it, even if that kicking game is going to plan in around the 60-minute mark, you'll want to play with the ball a bit and challenge them. You need to make sure that you have the depth to do so, and have the courage to go so deep before getting to that wide channel where the actual space is, because it's always a risky if you feel like you're going that far backwards, that sometimes you'll drift a little bit up forward, and sometimes their wingers do like to drift a little bit flat, and that's just going to be shut down if you're too close to that block defensive line. So it's going to be a risky game playing with the ball, but you should be backing your halfbacks, but particularly Biggar, to put on a kicking masterclass and challenge. What is the weakness of this Bok back three is just their vertical lift and their high ball prowess, because you have a guy in Liam Williams who's the elite of the elite. In that area. Dan Biggar as well.
Awesome in the air. So there is that element to it as well in terms of how they defend, what the Boks are bringing. The equation I think is fairly simple. I mean, I think like they have had issues in the absence of like we flagged Jonathan Davis as and that 13 channel as an area to be attacked when he is fit, and then without him last week they employed no shooter at 13, and they were all kinds of exposed in the wide channels against France, which is a scary picture for them. But it isn't generally where the Boks do look to attack teams,
not as often, no.
So I think while it is important that they get a shooter into that 13 and plug some of those holes, they are going to stick with that narrow blitz and those chop tackles, and it'd be it's the making or breaking of the game is whether they can stop the likes of Etzebeth and Vermeulen with latchers on their shoulders, trying to drive through the heart of them.
Peter Steff as well.
Exactly. The Boks just have, and then they bring on Franco Mostert and R.G. Snyman, and then they bring on Francois Lowe, and it just doesn't stop. So I mean, they've gone for the 6-2 split again this week on the bench.
Well,
so from Wales' perspective, it's a simple equation, but a bloody difficult one is to stop those guys, win those contacts, spoil that ball, make it slow, get a few turnovers.
You want to, like, ideally from Wales, you'll see, like, if it's going well, a few turnovers in the breakdown, a few choke tackles being executed, even when you're soaking yards, getting
even just attacking the pill. Like there's a few occasions where, because of the way Dwayne Vermeulen carries, there's been a few occasions the All Blacks tried to, I think just about everyone has tried it, they try and choke tackle him, and he's a freak. It doesn't work, frankly. So I actually don't like the choke tackle play against this Bok team, because consistently you think you have a good position on them, and their sheer strength just brings them straight back down, and all of a sudden they've just got yards and quick ball. So actually, really, what you should be looking at is maybe disrupting the ball in the contact, trying to bat the ball away,
swinging arms in, bang bang.
But
yeah, it's tough.
just frustrating that narrow box play is going to be their biggest challenge, and like we've seen them executed against the likes of Ireland and England, the Boks bring that game to another level.
Yeah,
and it's one of the great matchups. Wales is narrow,
week, but this is a big step up if he's to play again. Like he probably hasn't dealt with the physicality, the like of which he will see this game. So it's definitely tough for Wales, but I think they are wily enough to try and get that off, and it'll be talismanic performances from the likes of Alan Wynne-Jones or Tipperick that'll obviously normally be the catalyst to victory. Ken Owens as well.
I think exactly early on you're going to get a picture of whether those guys are to the forefront of the game. Yeah. Like if early doors you're seeing Etzebeth go through the likes of Alan Wynne-Jones or go through the likes of Tipperick.
That's a terrible Welsh picture if that's the case, and it's so possible. Those first 10 minutes there are often little revealing symptoms of the game to come that are in it, and if you start seeing pictures like that.
But if Wales can stop them, and Wales can back them back, all of a sudden you have a game on your hands. And certainly the way the Boks were exiting was so formulaic against Japan.
True.
And the Welsh, if that's to come again, you know what to expect. You just got to get your bomb diffusers at the ready. The bomb disposal unit has to be
which are so
primed,
they're so adept at it. Like loose faff box kicks down this Welsh back three's throat are not a good tactic. Like they just aren't. And they need to be contestable, but even that, I think Wales are winning. I think it's like an 80-20 split if the balls
50-50s in the air. I agree.
50-50s are 80-20 Wales in this game if the back three are competing for them. So it's like the Springboks should be trying to vary that exit. Yeah. But if they don't, Wales should be trying to play themselves into the game off that exit, because they'll know what's to come and they know that their big weapons are underneath it. And then try and get their multi-phase going and try and return with interest in terms of
winning the kicking game is going to be crucial. In terms of defending what the Boks are bringing out wide, they do need to bring line speed to shut it down. Getting in Villy LaRue's face and Am's face does tend to shut down that distribution of the Boks.
Pressuring Villy LaRue should be a big part of it, because part of the Boks plan is when they're trying to go wide is the link man is Villy. So it's hard to have, no matter what shape you're running, it's hard to be that deceptive when you know it's going from Pollard to Villy if it's going out wide at all. And with a bit of pressure, Villy has been very, very flaky this tournament. He hasn't been performing at the level that we know he is capable of. The Welsh defence is all about disruption, and one of the main disrupting things you can do to this Bok offense is shut down LaRue.
It's a big challenge for their back defenders. I'm curious to see whether the Boks actually go into that area and try and find their wingers in space, because that is where Wales are more gettable in terms of their defence, because they do leave their backs out there.
It's where the hole is in the system. It's where they get the space is.
One of the areas that concerns me is if they go. We don't actually have the Welsh team yet shooting this on Thursday, but one of the things that slightly concerns me is just the micro matchup of Hadley Parks defending Dalindi, because I just think the way Wales defend, it will more often than not be a one-on-one in that channel, and I just don't know. Like, I think Dalindi's form has been freakish. He's been so good, and I just don't know. I could just picture Hadley Parks letting the side down if everything else is going for Wales. All of a sudden, a Hadley Parks soft tackle for a big man, which does come in occasionally, and Dalindi just busts through the middle, and then all of a sudden the Boks have a bit of go for it. That's something they're going to have to be wary of. They do tend to keep their pack very narrow. Obviously they'll be without Navidi as well this game, so Ross Moriarty,
which is slower, fundamentally a slower back row then, and Ross Moriarty, despite being kind of in the mould of that big ball running number 8, like he's got Dwayne Vermeulen on the other side of him. He's not the big ball running number 8, he's the small wee number 8 this time round.
Indeed.
That's it's very, very challenging, but they actually, Wales are another team like the Boks who tend to, certainly this season, have done their best work without the ball. They've actually been very, very impressive on defence in terms of spoiling plays, in terms of subtle frustration plays here and there. They managed to completely upset England's rhythm on 2 different occasions and turn what is a very formidable physical side into looking a bit average, so I'm wondering if they'll be capable of doing something similar to the Boks, who I think are more physical again. So it's a tougher challenge again, but it is definitely interesting, because both of these sides tend to prefer playing without the ball, which is where the kicking game will become very important. And who will get those little minor victories in the multi-phase as well.
And the other thing that comes from the kicking game is, balls and touch and knock-ons, and that is where the set piece comes in. And like there's a definite advantage in at scrum time for the Boks,
for sure, as is tradition.
The Boks were scrumming very, very well. The Japanese are no mugs.
The Japanese
I wouldn't sleep on their scrum. Their scrum is very good, very technical, and man oh man, did they struggle against Beeston Tawira, who has wrestled his loosehead jersey back off, kits off, which no one thought was going to happen, but he's some man for one man.
Yeah.
Beeston Tawira is an absolute legend of the game.
An absolute top quality player.
One of the legends of the game that's still currently playing. Yeah. And it's awesome to see him. It could be in for a World Cup here. Like that scrum is a dangerous picture for Wales,
especially now with the 6-2 split in the back as well. Like they basically have a new scrum to bring on that is as good, if not better. Like they're scrumming aggressively for penalties and just dominating that set piece. And whereas conversely, Wales have actually been struggling to hit their heights at
they
scrum
did win
time.
the game with one great shove against France last week, but
there were 7 men they were up against, wasn't it? I think France did scrum with 7 from
the
time Van
that's
went
right,
off, so it was a 7-man French scrum is nowhere near the power that an 8-man Springbok shove has.
Wales are going to be trying to bring every technique in the book just to lock down the scrum, getting
the fact that it's Sharon means that there might be some Welsh fiddly sticks at scrum time. I wouldn't be surprised to see some resets, some up and down. And what I would say is that any time a scrum goes down or doesn't get set right, it's the Welsh who are doing it.
Probably.
It always is, and it's trying to frustrate the box, trying to confuse the Garces, both of which are viable tactics.
Yeah, Jerome actually, of all the French refs, does seem to appreciate the scrum a little bit more than most. Like he's not like Romain Poit in the scrum, who's just tossing a coin in his head. Hopefully we'll see the scrum refed well, but certainly Wales do need to be bringing out the tricks to try and keep the scrum going, because it was a great penalty generator for the Boks and a real momentum generator for them against the Japanese as well. Yeah. So that's an area to flag.
That being said, I think as much of an advantage that they have in that area, I think the restart game, Wales are probably more savvy on, and I think that's still the last lingering bugbear for Razzie off set piece is the fact that they are sometimes a bit switched off on restarts.
Yeah.
Sometimes caught a bit cold on restarts, and Wales are the kind of tactical side that will try and catch them out there.
It's a lingering residual.
It's like a hangover
from the Alistair Coetzee era.
Yeah, of just having kicks go off and then having like 4 or 5 different Boks just kind of watch it go there into Cora Betty's hands or someone, and so it's those little sloppy mistakes. Hopefully, semi-final day will be more focused and switched on. You'll get less of a chance of just that switching off after scoring.
But I tell you what, the
line-out
is super interesting.
Both are awesome line-outs, to be honest. And like the Springboks, I'm not sure if they lost one last week, but I think going into last weekend's game, they're 100%.
They got 10 from 10 last week.
There you go.
To add to their 100%
line-out, and I think they have 7 or 8 line-out steals as well in the tournament too. They're awesome. They're set piece, and then that 50-meter maul last week against the Japanese is just
a thing of
absolutely gorgeous.
So technical. The poor Japanese didn't know how to sack it. They were turning it so sharply. Yeah. Like Wales will be better. They are more savvy in the defensive game, and that's an interesting battle. How well can Wales spoil what the Boks are bringing at line-out time? Yeah,
because Wales have been ones taking steps off the mark, narrowing the gap every time. Tipuric is just never in the right place. He's always closing the gap. And it's like he gets away with it, and he will again, because Jerome Gar says he's not going to call him on it. And it could frustrate the Boks. I wouldn't be surprised to see them lose their first line out to this savvy Welsh team and be annoyed by it. But on balance, I think that's just going to be a really interesting dynamic set piece. I think, and from both teams. And I'm wondering, because off the bench,
who's going to get the plays off against each other?
Great thief of a ball in the air, but Tipuric similarly is, and Alan Wynne obviously has a few of those big games.
In great form. The bench is really an area of Boks strength in that pack. I think the starting packs could go toe for toe, but certainly Wales. The line-out is one area where you'd want to see the likes of Alan Wynne-Jones and Tipuric rising to the occasion.
Getting a bit off and probably upsetting what has been a flawless Bok line-out.
Making the plays that you have to make if you're going to win this semi-final.
Indeed.
And that's one of the areas that Wales will have to look at, is that defensive line-out, and then shutting down the maul once it's formed as well is crucial.
That's the other balancing act, because if you jump to compete, you better kind of get it, because otherwise there could be a 50-metre maul coming your way. But that's the set piece is definitely an interesting dynamic all over. I'd give Wales the edge on restart. It's Boks the definite edge at scrum time, and I think the line-out is just 2 excellent line-outs in 2 different ways. Like line-outs, the Springboks have just been technically awesome so far, flawless, whereas the Welsh have been bringing all kinds of subtle, annoying plays to the line-out game and the dark arts really of it. And I'm wondering how that matchup will work, because it's definitely got an interesting ring to it.
It does, doesn't it? It does. From the Boca perspective, how they're going to use the ball, how they're going to attack. It's
simple game, played well. Big physical runners off Faf is step one. I think it's collision winning. Collision instigating and then collision winning is all a big part of the Bok game. And yeah, Faf is great at just bringing Dwayne around the corner, bringing Etzebeth around the corner, bringing
There was also Etzebeth went backwards in a contact.
It doesn't happen that often. So it tends to give the likes of Pollard and Leroux, even though like Leroux has been not being his normal slick distributing self. It's not really about that a lot of the time. The nuts and bolts of their offense is just that around the corner off 9 play, and then Pollard will bring runners in off him as well. Like if it goes out as far as Pollard, he'll carry himself, or it'll be Delindy on a short ball or Am on a short ball. It doesn't tend to get that expansive, but that they don't need to a lot of the time to really bludgeon.
Just have enough options and play it at enough pace with enough power. With enough clever angles to be going at softer shoulders. That they can just get momentum. But one of the things that is true is that Wales are looking a bit defensively ragged the wider you get against them.
Definitely.
And so
that's you need a bit of courage to get there.
Pollard's passing game has been improving as the season has gone on. You know, that lovely try they scored against the Japanese off turnover ball, Mapimpi's second. And Pollard swooped through the line, cut it, and threw a perfect wide pass.
That's excellent.
That's the kind of thing. Like, because Wales
could unpick this Welsh.
That's where Wales need to be unpicked. And as much as it's disappointing to see Cheslin Colby not in the team, it is it's a loss for the rugby viewing public. It's a loss for the Boks. But Sabu Nkosi has been waiting in the wings, chewing at the bit. He's going to be
so hungry as well,
waiting to get at it. And every opportunity he's had, like against Argentina earlier in the year, he's taken like he's
normally bags a brace when he hasn't played in a few weeks. He normally comes in and gets 2 tries. So you could expect that, and that could be a very losing picture for Wales, as if also, you have your Sabu Nkosi celebrating his 2nd try.
And for all the chat that the Springboks get consistently and have gotten again this time around from the ignorant amongst the rugby commentary community of them being sort of a fundamentals team that's ugly to watch. I've heard that chat from some Kiwi commentators, ugly to watch. Like, for all of that chat, their left winger, as is always the case with these Boks sides, is the top try scorer. Mapimpi has 6 tries in the tournament now. He's 2 away from John Lomu and Brian Habana's joint record of 8 in the tournament. That's the beautiful picture of the Boks bring, is that marauding, physical and kicking game coupled with lethal wingers. When Ireland are trying to emulate that, that's what they're missing.
Sabu Nkosi comes in and that's the same. It's more of the same. He's devastating when put into space.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking forward to see the Boks doing that. I think they do need to be a lot
hinges on Vili though. You really want to see Vili perform, because if the wingers are to get onto the scoreboard, it goes through Vili more often than not, and like he's like Razzie has kept faith with him.
He has,
where form has probably been illustrating that he probably shouldn't be there. Like he's probably not in as good of a vein of form as even Willemse, who's fresh off the plane, or Haaland, who came as well. Both of those players have shown more form than him. But Razzie's thinking that the cap factor, the fact that he's experienced, but also just backing that like he does have the play in him. He's keeping good faith with him.
That one play against the All Blacks, he's got to deliver though, Vili. There's no question that he's got to deliver, because right now it's the one thing that Razzie has done that hasn't really worked.
And it's been when their offense has got a bit static and stagnant, which it has. That is the pivot point a lot of the time, because he's the second distributor.
There's a few people criticising Am had a poor distributing pass. There was some sort of loose plays from other players around the park, but crucially, Vili is the distributor. He's like, when he makes an error, it's worse. Because he's the guy who needs to make things happen. He's the pivot point. It shouldn't be your Am or your Delindy. It should be him. That's what you're doing.
Am and Delindy are doing their job by smothering the offense of the other team.
Yes, exactly. And now your job is to put your lethal wingers into a bit of space. So that's the crucial picture that the Boks will be looking to paint, and I'll be curious to see if Vili can get it off. One of the things that I will say is I do think he's an awesome player. He can execute, and it would be a fun picture if he finally came right. And it would just be everything coming up Millhouse for Razzie. If he finally got it right.
Gets form in the semi-final weekend, ready for the that's absolutely true. And
but in the alternative picture that it doesn't go right, I think Razzie has to be brave enough to go for Francois Steyn at 15 and do it early. He's been very reluctant to change the outside backs. That's been the one aspect as well. The bench, like even when
he was taking Am off for Creel in earlier in the season.
Yeah, and you're just like, what kind of use of the bench is this?
Well, it's also like, what's the problem here? Like, we're actually getting everything right, and then Villy's not sticking the pass. So it's like you need to have a capacity to haul him out of there when it's not going well, especially when he is, as you say, such a pivot point. And but then also on Villy and Pollard and Faf, the kicking game needs to be mixed up when they have the ball in hand. That's one of the last points, because I think bomb-wise, they're not going to succeed.
I agree.
Bringing a bomb game to this Liam Williams-led back three is just... They love it. They relish it. And they will beat you at it. So... Like, they don't have any elite operators in that area anyway. I would rather see them kick for grass.
Yeah, just kicking deep is great, especially when a team that loves to defend as much as they do.
Yeah.
And loves to launch off set piece. If you're launching deep South African-esque kicks that are bouncing into the 22 and drifting back, leaving the likes of Bigger and Williams not much option but to kick for touch or kick deep, then all of a sudden you can launch off set piece, no matter how good their exit kick is.
Yeah.
But if you hurl one into the air as a contestable, all of a sudden Liam Williams has gathered it up and now you're under a bit of pressure.
Yes.
That's not what you're looking for. I would love to see them bring in a few more crossfield kicks. Just go where Wales aren't.
Kick to those dangerous wingers.
Kicking deep over the wingers' heads, over the Welsh wingers' heads whenever they come up flat.
Which
and then when they're ever disciplined enough to go back expecting that kick in behind, that's where you work in your crossfield kicks. And I think Pollard does have that game to him.
He does, but we haven't seen as much of it in this Razzie-led offence, but it might be a time and a place for it.
Yeah, well, I certainly think as a routine exit, it's something that's been frustrating the South African fans, but it's actually something that worked very well against Japan.
Yeah,
was the consistent Faf box kick. That's just constantly box kicking, just getting down the field, partly because they just love to play without the ball.
Yeah.
But against Wales, it could not work. First of all, you could see the game broken up. William Williams being one of the great counter-attackers in rugby.
Yes.
There's that danger, but there's also the danger if you're just not gaining enough territory from your kicking game. Wales have it back, and they're going to kick it back with interest and maybe have a better chance in their own contestables or hurl you back deep. It's a recipe for losing the kicking game. Just sticking with that Faf box kick.
Yeah.
You have to mix it up
for sure.
So it's an interesting dynamic as well. I'm curious to see whether they do. I'll be disappointed to see, as I'm sure a load of Springbok fans will be, to see Faf consistently stick to his box kicking game.
Yeah, keep doing it. That's definitely how they should be attacking anyway, mixing it up between all those elements, but trying to get a good flow going and get their own momentum and rhythm. But then when their defense, it's we've said it the whole time, it's kind of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They're going to stick to their guns, outside to in blitz with a ferocious line speed, trusting Am to lead the line and make the proper reads.
And the Am and Delindi centre combination from a defensive point of view is as good a pair of defensive centres that there has been in the game for ever. Maybe, certainly I was thinking decades anyway. I can't think of one.
Yeah. Well, considering where the offenses have got now and how sophisticated they're at, like the capacity they show for shutting that down consistently, repeatedly is awesome. The job they did on the All Blacks in the game in the Rugby Championship earlier in the year, where it was a draw, but like they shut down so many of those chances out wide, and they've shot like the smothering job they did on what has been a high flying Japanese offense that still was probing and getting some plays off there. Very, very adept at shutting all that down. So bringing that line speed, very important. Smashing Wales. They want to be imposing themselves in every contact. If Wales are getting afraid of that wide shutdown play, so deciding to come a bit narrow, that's when you want your guys absolutely punishing them for it.
I think they will. They really will back their D in those narrow areas. They have all season. They have guys like Francois Lowe to bring on then and be Tigers at the breakdown. Yeah. So it's a tough matchup for Wales, as we said when we were talking about their attack. And it's stymieing that Bok defence. I think the Boks will look to smash them on the inside, backhand shut it down on the outside. If they try and use Hadley Parks as their hit up man up the middle, Delindi is just going to hit him all day long.
There's a lot of like for like smashing on going on. Like I actually think both of these sides are just stronger defenders than they are attackers at the moment, which could lead to a very brutal, very bruising 3-point oriented game where a single try could be the telling factor of it all.
Which is exactly how it was in 2015. It was that one try for Forey de Pria that opened it up and made by Vermeulen that helped South Africa to win that game. That's definitely it's definitely a fair comment, but I do think that the Boks have to be wary on the other side of the ball, just what Wales are going to bring with their kicking game.
Yeah, that's another big question. Like whatever about Billy's distribution, his high ball is going to be tested probably more than it has been all tournament in this particular fixture, and he needs to be leading that little, especially now that Cheson's out of there, Nkosi's in. They're two running wingers who aren't really high ball experts.
Nkosi's good in the air.
Nkosi's good in the air, but it's like the pivot point again is Villy, and they need to be getting that pendulum right and then just gathering those balls. They will come at them. Vigor will test them that way, and that's going to be a big part of their defensive task.
Yeah, I also wouldn't be surprised to see little dinks, little Anscombe-esque dinks.
Yeah. Which would maybe be Faf's thing. I'm not sure, does Faf cover that space in that defensive
system?
They're
gonna have to mind him, because they do come up flying. Like they're gonna be looking to turn arm and get it over arm's head in that 13 channel more often than not, I suspect. So I think that could be another picture that the Boks will have to shut down. So there's definitely a lot of fun dynamics in this one. We do expect the kicking game, both the pack and the kicking games to decide this one.
Yes, for sure.
But yeah, how do you see it going?
I'm leaning towards the Boks, but I can see a Welsh spoily play in them. I can see it the Boks have been carrying such momentum all through this tournament, and Wales only limping through their quarter final will have them somewhat under the radar.
It would be a Herculean effort. It really would.
I think it's going to be narrow. I think it's going to be brutal and bruising and physical. I think in that, if the more physical side are to prevail, it'll be the Boks.
Yeah.
But if the Boks are a little bit off and a little bit shook, it'll be because Wales are being subtle, clever, wily, and the likes of Alan Wynne are spoiling it on them. So I really, it's going to be probably a one-score game either way. I'm leaning towards the Boks. I know you are as well.
Oh yeah, I think the Boks.
Yeah. But
I think that's those 6 elite forwards that they're going to bring off the bench.
Yeah,
that's just a turning point in finals.
I also just have this in my head of All Black Springboks 95 final rematch. I have that in my head too. And
there's the England Springboks.
There's the England Wales that could happen as well. Never happened, but it could do. It's another great. Like, it'll be the 4th time this year that they meet in the final. That'd be hilarious. So no, they're 4 tremendous teams, absolutely glorious teams, and just worthy Final Four, worthy semi-finals, and may the better team win.
I feel like the Boks will get the better of this one. I just think those forwards are just incredible. The 6 forwards off the bench who are all as elite as they come.
Couple that with the fact that
that's a hell of a job for just Alan Wynne Jones.
The Welsh scrum has struggled to hold even Argentina, or like who were they against? No, it was Australia, and even I think in the Georgia and Fiji games they were not great, not as robust as they would have liked to be, whereas the Boks have been flawless in that area. I think. Yeah, on the balance of power, it's just
they're a better rugby team on just about.
Just about, but then the winning record 4-4-0 in the last 4, and Warren Gatland, and then this is 2-year team versus 10-year team. Like, the now side of things is definitely in Wales' side, the experience as well. But form, who knows? Yeah, it's a great game. I'm looking forward to it. I'm rooting for Wales. I'm rooting for the last of the Celts in the competition. Definitely rooting for Wales. But I can kind of see the Boks.
Boks have always been my second tier 1 team, so I would be rooting for the Boks. But I think it's going to be a fun game. I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I do predict a Bok win. I'm with a degree more confidence than I would with my England pick or All Black pick. It's so tough.
Yeah. Thank you very much for watching that video. Please like and subscribe for all our new Rugby World Cup content, and please leave a comment down below as well, because we enjoy hearing your thoughts on it. Thanks.